Welcome to FootballGameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, sitting here with the man Tyler Merkovich, and this is the 2009 Miami Dolphins team preview. A lot of excitement last year in Miami. These guys went from 1-15 to 11-5 to the playoffs. Awesome turnaround. How does that offense look this year under Tony Sparano in year two?
Well, Bill Parcells, Sparano era, gotta love it in Miami. But the first thing you think about when you talk about the Miami Dolphins offense, what you think is a Wildcat offense.
Mm-hmm.
I love what they did in the offseason. They drafted Pat White in the second round. Obviously, they're going to draft him for a reason, so he looks like he's going to be in there for majority of the Wildcat snaps. And, their main quarterback, Chad Pennington, his premier decision-making has made him a winner everywhere he's gone. And, I know he doesn't have a gun for an arm, but his great decision-making makes him one of the best winners in the NFL.
I love Chad Pennington. He always makes the right decision with the football. Running game is really important under Sparano. How's those two running backs, that tandem of Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams, looking this year in 2009?
Well, Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams, they had pretty solid years last year. Brown coming back from injury, Williams coming back from retirement or whatnot. Patrick Cobb's good third down scat back, but all these guys are going to be running behind a vastly improving line led by first overall pick last year, Jake Long, who made the Pro Bowl in his first year. Now they signed Vernon Carey to an extension, who's better off in the role at right tackle. They get their two guards back from injury, Donald Thomas and Justin Smiley, and they swapped centers with Oakland. They bring in Jake Grove. They traded away Samson Satelli because those 3-4 nose tackles were giving them problems, so they want more of an aggressive guy. Vince Wilfork, Chris Jenkins, and the 3-4 defenses they see were not fitting well with their center, so they go and get Jake Grove. And
with the offensive line, they have to give Chad Pennington time so he can find those blazers out there on the ends with Ted Ginn and Devon Best. How do you see that wide receiver core looking this year?
Well, Ted Ginn, he's an overhaul from the Cam Cameron era. He was the 7th pick overall in the 2007 draft. But Chad Pennington loves this guy, loves his work ethic, and he's getting better and better. The thing he needs to improve on are those over-the-middle routes. His route running is not as crisp running those, and he tends to drop balls. And, he's got to get big and step up as a number one there. But he's a great long guy, and catching screens, we know he brings that to the table. But two other guys I want to talk about. Greg Camarillo, who had a great year last year. He missed the last 5 games with injury, and that opened up the door for Devon Best to fill his role. And he had a great last 5 games. He was a rookie last year out of Hawaii. He's entering his second year. I think this guy's going to break out. So when you got these speed guys who can make some plays, it's going to benefit the Dolphins team. But what they do lack is a big target who could get them those possession receptions, and Ernest Wilford disappointed them last year. He signed a decent contract in Miami. He didn't play. He was injured half the time. But a guy like is Pat Turner, who they drafted in the middle rounds out of USC, I think this guy has some potential. So that's one of the key additions they made. This is why part of the reason why I love their offseason.
One thing that's also impressive about the Dolphins, that defensive strategy. They run a 3-4. They're real aggressive. They got after the quarterback last year. How do you see the defense improving this year as opposed to last?
Well, as you mentioned before, in a 3-4, as it all entails on the defensive line, and Jason Ferguson mans the middle, who's been solid, but they lose Vonnie Holliday, who's a veteran leader, and they drafted Philip Merling last year, who fell in the draft because of injury. He's going to move up. He's going to have to step up. And young guys like Kendall Langford, another second-year guy at Hampton, and Randy Starks, those guys need to step up. Their defensive line is okay in that 3-4.
And you can't talk about Miami Dolphins football defensive side of the ball without mentioning Joey Porter. How is he going to do this year, and how the rest of that linebacking core is going to do this year?
Joey Porter absolutely loved the transition to the 3-4 defense. They thrived in that in their first year. Now it's their second year. Another addition they made, they bring back Jason Taylor, who's traditionally a 4-3 end. He's going to be an outside linebacker. Now they got Aiken Adele also. They got Channing Crowder, another underrated guy. And this moves Matt Roth as their 5th linebacker. So they got 5 legitimate linebackers who could play in a 4-linebacker system. This is a very big strength for the Dolphins.
And I like Matt Roth, a guy who kind of reminds me of Chad Greenway, brings it out each and every play. The secondary, big acquisitions coming in. They also lose a lot of guys. So how do you see the secondary looking this year in in 09.
First round pick they spent it on Vontae Davis. The knock on him was he can't coach him, but he's in Sperano and Parcells' camp now. They're going to get this guy to play, and I love that pick. And also Will Allen. I mean, he's decent in coverage, but what he's good is open field tackling. He's a great he's a great tackler for a cornerback. They lose veterans Ronaldo Hill and Goodman, Andre Goodman, but they bring in Gabriel Wilson to go alongside one of the most underrated safeties in the league, Jeremiah Bell. And another move they made, they picked up Sean Smith, very tall, lengthy guy who's going to match up with the tall receivers in the AFC East, such as Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. So their secondary's improved.
And one thing that you got to look at, the special teams, you have to bring up Ted Ginn, great return guy. How's that special teams going to look this year in Miami?
Well, it was comical last year listening to Tony Sperano describe his the difficulties on special teams that they had a mid-season crisis at that unit. So they had problems last year, but they can improve that in the offseason, and Sperano's working hard to get that unit going. They got pretty good return guys in Ted Ginn and Devon Best. They could return punts, but Dan Carpenter, a guy they find out at Montana, kicked well, and he's a mainstay in Miami who get that offense going. If they can't score points in the red zone, Dan Carpenter is almost a lock to make their field goals.
One thing, and they're going to need all three aspects of the game this year, offense, defense, and special teams, to compete in that tough AFC East. What do you see? I know last year they won a division. What do you see the Dolphins finishing this year in the AFC East?
Well, their brutal schedule, it's unbelievable. I'm going to say middle of the pack. They're probably going to be tied with the Bills for second, probably around 500. I don't see them more than 9 wins, probably 7 to 8 to 9 wins. I say they finish 500. Their schedule is just unbelievable this year compared to what it was last year.
Hopefully they can get repeat success. We all know consistency in the NFL is important. Thank you for tuning in to our Miami Dolphins team preview. For more, check out our more videos. Check out our website, footballgameplan.com/NFL. I'm Emory Hunt. This is Tyler Merkovich. Thank you guys for tuning in.